Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome to 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and wherever you're tuning in. We thank you for doing so. As we have hit the month of August, I am Matthew Hatfield. He is praying, I think, because he's not looking up. Oh, but he is now. He is the coach, Ed Young. Howdy, morning.
Oh, it's great, beautiful day, great day. The heat not as bad as it's been.
I tell you what, it was the other night. I think Friday night it was like a little chilly. I almost had to go get a jacket in August. As crazy as that sounds.
I didn't get a jacket. I was out and about enjoying the nice cool weather.
I'm sure you were.
Oh yeah, it was good. Can't show you where I was at like we've done the past couple of weeks, but it was good. But we don't have the oppressive lately. So now let me just say this: we got August. Don't go fast. September, slow down. Fall is okay, but it's better to get up. I like summertime, even though it's hot. And I know a lot of people are anxious for football and all that mess, but slow down. Let's enjoy the rest of the summer while it's here.
Well, this will probably be the last time we touch on baseball in depth until the playoff stretch at the end of September going into October, because the trading deadline just passed this past week. We have flipped the calendar from July to August. So we're going to assess where our over-unders are that we did on Cova Sports TV before the season, and also give you our winners, losers from the trading deadline, plus give you our up-to-the-moment picks on who will win the pennants, the American League and National League. First and foremost, while your Yankees made a host of moves, my D-backs decided to be sellers with Eugenio Suarez now with Seattle, as is Josh Naylor. Merrill Kelly went to Texas, so half the team went to the American League West, basically. It did keep Zach Gallen, thankfully, and Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte didn't go anywhere. But I think the teams that really just sold the farm, D-backs won. Minnesota Twins gave up 10 or 11 players on their major league roster, which was wild. I think the big winners, though, a lot of teams upgraded their rosters, Ed, from, okay, the Yankees made the bullpen a little bit better, or so they think, despite blowing a lead late to Miami on Friday night. The Mets improved their bullpen, and by the way, also got Caballero in game against the Rays in a game that was rain delayed on Thursday, which is also wild. He's leading the American League in stolen bases. Phillies got themselves Duran from those aforementioned Twinks, the Minnesota Twins. And then additionally, you look at what the San Diego Padres did. I mean, AJ Preller, give him major props. He's going for it each and every year, whether he's trying to go get a Machado or a Soto, or this particular time getting Mason Miller from the A's. He is going for it. So I give him props. And he goes out and gets a couple guys from the Birds. The Orioles lose Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn. Mets get Rogers from the O's too. I think San Diego has positioned themselves well to where you look at the odds on the screen there on the ticker as of August 2nd. The Padres, I'm surprised that they are behind the Dodgers, Mets, Phillies, Cubs, and Brewers to win the National League. They're not necessarily my pick to win the NL, but I like those odds. Not too shabby for them right now.
Yeah, I think the Padres should be up a little bit more. They did a lot. The Brewers did, I think, one somewhat minor trade, I'll call it. Minnesota blew my mind. Somebody was mad in that front office and just said, let's get rid of everybody. Surprising, absolutely surprising that they did that. And, I applaud the Padres. It probably would be my big winner. Seattle, big winner. Mm-hmm. Houston getting Correa back. On paper, it's good, but he can be a volatile mess. But when he was with Houston, no issues before. And apparently want to play him at third. I think that's a help for them.
That division might not get all three teams in the postseason with Houston, Seattle, Texas. And Seattle, by the way, has owned Texas lately in the head-to-head. Look at the records the last few years. Texas has a multi-time World Series winning manager in one, Bruce Bochy. But you know who I thought was a disappointment? I'm with you. I think San Diego's a winner. The Mets, to a degree, are a winner, though they didn't get that starting pitch they liked. Phils, to a degree, are a winner. The two disappointing, to me, losers were, getting Mike Soroka from the Nats is not enough for the Cubbies. They needed another starting pitcher. And the Tigers went out and got some pitching like Kyle Finnegan from the Nats, Charlie Morton, who's 41 years of age, but pitching better as of late from Baltimore, who got off to a miserable start. Chris Paddock from the Twins, but they needed a veteran bat in that lineup to go with Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson and Javi Baez and those guys. I think they need to go get a bat. So Tigers and Cubs, to me, the slight losers. The winners, the Padres, and the other big winner, American League, if he's healthy, getting Shane Bieber from the Guardians, who decided to part ways with Stephen Kwan, which was wise on their end because they're only a few games out of the wild card. But if Shane Bieber is anywhere close to Cy Young form and he can be front of the rotation for the playoffs, Toronto has enough offensive firepower to go win the AL. So those are the two big winners to me, Padres and Jays.
Yeah, I agree with that Bieber pickup by the Blue Jays. Understand he's pitched well in the minors, ready to be called up.
And you like those over-under win picks for you, by the way, over for the Jays and over for the Padres, as you're going to probably clean my clock this year in the over-unders.
Yeah, Kansas City has been disappointing. I think Toronto, I did think would go over. I'm going to lose on the Cubs.
But you can still go 3-2 there because it looks like the Rays are starting to sputter. They're getting rid of guys left and right. Pods, Jays, they should be over wins for you. I'm a mess because Houston probably gets 88. The Mets probably get 91. My D-backs not happening. And then I'm banking on Cincy and the A's to avoid going 1-4, 0-5 here. And the Reds have that crazy 8-run. You score 8-run, we'll score 8 runs, lose in extras with the Braves on Thursday. And Francona's a good manager, but they might be a year away in that division where Milwaukee and the Cubs and even St. Louis are pests. So it's not looking too good for me on that front. But you saw the odds a minute ago. I'll put them back up. Give me your AL pick today, first weekend of August. NL pick today, first weekend of August, to reach the Fall Classic come October. Who do you like?
I'm going to stay with the Tigers slightly over the Blue Jays.
Okay.
But if Bieber pitches well, they continue getting decent pitching. People said they're going to cool off. I think it comes down to those two for the World Series.
And your National League?
National League, I've had Dodgers all up to this point, but I'm looking hard at Phillies and Padres. I'm going to go Phillies. Slight edge over the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers will hold off the Padres. The Phillies will keep the Mets at arm's length. I know everybody else is talking Brewers and Cubbies, but I don't have either one in there.
Well, the Mets have that bullpen. They go to the sixth inning now with Gregory Soto. They can throw in there, in addition to him, Rogers, and they can also throw in Helsley, who they got from St. Louis before they get to Edwin Diaz in the ninth. But I just don't know if they can win extra inning games, and if their starting pitching will be able to do enough in that National League. It's hard to navigate that field. So you're going to go with, you said, the Tigers and the Phils. I thought about a 1993 Fall Classic rematch. If you remember that Fall Classic. Joe Carter, Jays, Phillies. But I tell you what, I love the odds of the Padres. I think it's their time now. And Mason Miller is going to be a starter for them eventually. It's coming sooner than later. So that's my pick. I'm going to go with Jays and Pods. I think that has a little bit of a spice to it, and that's where I'm headed for it. So there you have it.
Yeah, the trade deadline, which I didn't think last week we talked about it. I said don't look for a lot of craziness.
Oh, you were wrong.
Nobody's moving.
The
last hour of the trading deadline looked like a variety show on TV.
50 players traded in 31 hours. 168 players total were dealt. That's a lot.
It just got crazy, and I was disappointed. Kind of disappointed the Orioles really unloaded I know they're fighting to stay out of last place. They're not going to playoffs. I just hated to see them get, O'Hearn. When I heard O'Hearn got dealt, I was like, wow, he's their all-star. But, my attitude about trade deadline has changed. If you got guys who are going to be free agents and you're either sure you don't want them back or they're gonna price themselves away, do everything you can to get rid of them and get something for them. Get a utility player, get a minor, get something for them instead of letting them walk scot-free. That's how I would look at it. And I think some teams did that. It was like, okay, we don't want him back or he's going to cost us too much, so we're just going to get rid of him.
Well,
and I think the teams are going to take that view in this deadline. And, of course, in the offseason, there is no deadline. Things are different. And now remember, say like yesteryear where, now you can pick up players on waivers. Somebody might cut a guy or put them on waivers. The only way you can pick up players now is a team has to outright release somebody. Right. And then you can pick somebody. Back in the day, some of those waiver deals in September, August, September were pretty neat to see because teams picked up a pitcher or a hitter who the team just finally said, you know what, we don't want them. And they helped them get to the playoffs of the World Series. Doyle Alexander comes to mind on one of those as a pitcher years ago. But you're not going to see that unless the team just outright gets rid of somebody and says, hey, we don't want them.
The other big one was Cedric Mullins going to the Mets. That's a huge pickup for them in center field, and he can make those rob you from a home run catch and some clutch plays there. So, we shall see how it all shakes out.
And you didn't say it, I didn't say it, but I'll say it now. As for my Yankees, I'm giving Cashman a C. I'm not overly excited. I know some Yankee fans are. I saw Calabro. Was it last
Caballero.
night?
And it's Korea, not Korea, by the way. Caballero. Oh my gosh.
Caballero, Kubaya, whatever the heck.
You're bad with names.
Whatever trash guy we picked up.
Wow, he's not leading the American League in stolen bases. How is he trash? And Volpe's fielding has been less than stellar.
And where did we play the new guy? I think I saw a ball went right through his legs.
Calm down. No,
we
go.
Picked up Cashman. Now, I understand why. 2 reasons. Everybody wanted either Spencer Jones or George Lombard Jr., and they're not trading those guys.
Spencer Jones
in the minor league and George Lombard Jr., the 2 biggest prospects in the Yankee system. So they weren't willing to give up those guys. But who they got, they're not going to help them. And half them they picked up, I think, 6 guys. Half of them or all of them won't be with the team next year. So, I'm not complaining. I'm not saying fire Boone. I'm not saying fire Cashman.
Too many DHs. Okay. You don't have fielders, and Aaron Judge is out. That's your problem.
We don't have the McMahon pickup from Colorado.
Really good pickup.
He's a good defensive guy, and he's going to hit a strong 220. Okay, but at least he can fill the position. So that's how I look at that. So Yankee fans, those who said, "Boy, we did a lot. It's not enough to get us over the hump," and I'm truly now officially worried that we can even make the wild card. I know we're still number 1 wild card team. I ain't putting no money on that either. We'll see. Lewis Gill's coming back. Hill, I think, is on pitching Sunday.
Rookie of the year last year.
Let's see what he does. He's finally back off that injured list. Let's see what he does. But no, I was not excited about the Yankee pickups. I said C, but I didn't complain because they did something. But Mason Miller would have been a great pickup to get. Cedric Mullins, if you want an outfielder, put him out there. If it's a rental for 2 months, get him out there. Whatever, you don't have to pay him. But the Yankees, who are they are? I told you at the beginning of the year, I didn't have the Yankees winning the division. I did have them as a playoff team. Everybody said, the mighty Yankees are going to win 120 games. No, they're not. That's not a really good team, put together team. It really isn't.
Okay. He's done venting, ladies and gents. He'll take a chill pill now.
Well, not done venting, but because of the pace of the show,
you've already obliterated the clock, so you can forget about that.
2 other guys I want to vent at hard, but it deals with football.
Well, we'll do that in the Ask Coach Young segment, potentially, if we have time, which at this point we probably don't. Stick around. We have more coming your way on 757 Sports Talk. You're going to hear from Steve Monninger, head football coach, Norfolk Academy, Casey Turner, new head football coach at Princess Anne, and Greg Medea scheduled to join us. He, the man that covers all things when it comes to the University of Virginia, the Wahoos, and he also is a diehard Mets fan. So, like Ed, he can get a little cranky, get a little grumpy, but he works for the Daily Progress, does great work there. So we'll talk with Greg. More coming your way. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps?
All right.
More strength?
All you kids
more
know.
stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
All right, all you kids know the rapper 50 Cent. So what did 50 Cent do when he was hungry? 58.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
All right, we are back here on 757 Sports Talk with the guy who occasionally listens to 50 Cent, the Coach Ed Young. I'm Matthew Hatfield. All right, Ed, it is time now for Ask Coach Young, one of your favorite portions of our program when we do get the questions from the mailbag folks. Again, if you got questions or player of the week submissions with the high school football season coming up and so much more, you can always drop us a note, hatfieldsports@gmail.com. Reach us via the Twitter, the X, the Facebook, the Instagram, all the different platforms that you may check out the show. All right, Cindy in Norfolk wants to know, who's a better trade option, Coach? Terry McLaurin of the Commanders, who's requested a trade, or Micah Parsons of the Cowboys, who's also done the same thing? They're two NFC East rivals. Why don't they trade them to each other, huh? And by the way, there is a difference, as you well know, between requesting something or demanding something. Ed demands pay on this show. I request money. He gets what he wants. I don't. Go ahead. This is your time to shine.
It'd be nice to get some money. First of all, Cindy, let me just say this. You're assuming I'm okay with these guys being traded, which I'm not. It's a joke, and I've said this before about players. This is like my shut up segment. Both these dudes need to shut up and play. Show up and play your best. Why? You're under contract. You signed the contract to play. Okay, Micah Parsons, you might be the best defensive lineman in football. Might be. TJ Watt just signed the most expensive contract, $42 million a year for linemen. Dallas, give Micah 43. He deserves it. Okay? But until that happens, and I believe it will, Micah, shut up and play. McLaurin with the Commanders. That's how much I know about this dude. You're not one of the top 5, 6, 10, maybe 10 receivers in the NFL. I don't.
Woo, are you sure about that?
Yeah, and if he was on the other end right now, I would tell that to him.
Doesn't plus touchdown catches scary, Terry? I don't know if you watch them enough. That's not fair.
Well, I'm not a big Commander fan because I probably don't watch him enough as I should.
Yeah.
But let me say this to Terry. Shut up. Go out and catch 120 balls, 30 touchdowns. Play your contract out. Here's what they need to do. Say, okay, to the management. Okay, First of all, when you request or demand a trade, it brings your value down because other teams know, oh, he don't want to be there. We ain't got to give up no first rounder. We're going to be able to get him. We'll hold it out. So here's my advice as an agent. Okay, they won't tear up the old contract. We've outplayed it. Fine, we'll play it out. We'll show up. We'll sign autographs. We'll smile. We'll do everything. The day after the season, see ya, Commanders. See ya, Cowboys. No negotiations. We're moving on. Simple. Make it simple. But play your contract out. If you are in a business and sign a contract and say, hey, I've been doing great for the company. I want a raise or I ain't coming in. They'll say, okay, make sure at least come in and clean out your desk so the next guy can get it. They're getting rid of you. Simple, because you're under contract. Okay? I don't want to hear professional athletes are different. Professional athletes have it tougher. Their careers are shorter. Talk about dudes making $30 million getting mad because they're not making 42. And you and I wondering if we can get $20 for something. This is ridiculous. So shut up, both of you, and play. Now, Cindy, to answer your question, because you took the time to send it, Parsons, if you're going to trade or get some, Parsons is going to bring you more, is going to help you more. He could be the best defensive lineman in football. As far as McLaurin, I hope to live the day to see where he's top 2 in the NFL in receiving, because I don't think I will. So Parsons, by far, the better trade chip. But neither guy's getting traded. It's going to get worked out. Definitely with Parsons. It's going to get worked out. Jerry Jones, you're another dude, man.
Well, that's what I was going to get to before we finish this off here. You know, you do need to realize McLaurin's had 5 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Hold on. And Jerry Jones doesn't want to talk to agents. And listen, the principle of what you're saying is absolutely spot on. You should honor your contract. That is the way we've all been brought up to believe. And I don't think you're wrong about that. But listen, we're in a different time now. We're in the NIL era with college athletes getting paid. We're in the era where high school coaches are offering thousands of dollars. I'll wait till we get that rant with you next week from one of our questions. We already got that sent in. We'll say that for next week as the Fairfax stories unfolding right now as we sit here. That's for our time. But some of this also got to fall on Jerry Jones. And I disagree with you on one thing. I do think one of these two guys may get dealt either right before or during the season. And I say during because if the Cowboys train goes off the track to where they're just bad, there's no telling who could get dealt, whether it's Dak Prescott or Parsons, because that could happen. I'm not saying it will happen or it should happen, but I think there's a lot of things that could happen. So there you go. There you go. All right. So that concludes the latest installment of Ask Coach Young. We have more coming your way on 757 Sports Talk. Don't touch that dial. You're watching Cova Sports TV.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. you get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young, every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
And we welcome you back to the show, back here on 757 Sports Talk. Matt Hatfield here with you, joined by a special guest. He is the head football coach of the Bulldogs of Norfolk Academy, getting ready for year number 15, I think it is at the helm. He'll correct me if that's not right. He is Steve Monninger. Coach, happy summer. It's August. It's your time of the year as a football coach, so you pumped up for another year?
Yeah, of course, Matt. It's an awesome time of year. Summer workouts just finished up. And we worked really hard in the weight room and on the turf, getting faster, getting stronger. And day one is Monday. So that's the time we get to start building our team and installing all of our schemes. And it's the most exciting time of the year.
We've had you on before on our On the Hash with Hatfield podcast, which people can check out during the week as the football season gets rolling. But for those that are unfamiliar with Steve Monninger, Norfolk Academy's program, fill us in on your background. What drew you to the situation where you're now getting ready for, I guess this would be, depending on how you view it, your second or third decade coaching football there?
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. I'm really lucky. I grew up loving the game of football, and I played high school football, and I grew up in New Jersey. And I played for a school called Westfield High School in New Jersey. And football was pretty important in that area of the country, and it was fun to do that. And got to play football in college at a small college in Vermont called Middlebury College, which is where I stayed and coached, and eventually became a defensive coordinator and coached at Middlebury College for 13 years. And then with kind of family situation and two little boys, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and kind of made a transition out of college and looked for some prep school jobs around the country, and landed here at Norfolk Academy. And I've been here ever since, and just absolutely loving it, and love this school, love this atmosphere, love this culture. And it's high academics and a lot of character building at the school, which is a perfect fit for me and my family.
That's terrific. Recap last season, how it went for you guys, and we'll get to some of the names as far as players to watch for this season. But the private school football scene is ever changing, much like the public school, isn't it?
Yeah, I think independent school football locally in the TCIS, and then statewide, which is VISA, that's the governing body of independent schools around the state, is really strong. And we travel around the state to play competition here and farther away. And it's gotten better in my time here, certainly this is my 15th year. So I've seen the talent increase. I've seen a lot of independent school football players that are going on to play high levels of college football afterwards. So it's been cool to see that development. And I think it's definitely continuing. It's still always a struggle because there's admissions processes, which are very different than public schools, and financial aid and so forth, which are different. But overall, it's been impressive how it's gotten better, and the coaches have gotten better over the years as well, which has been impressive. And last year we had a really strong year. We were 7-2 and had a great football season. And after graduating a lot the year before, we bounced back and had a really, really solid season. So last year was a year I was, at the end of it, I was really proud of our guys and proud of our accomplishments after that season.
Before I dig into one of the names that I really love for your team who's committed to a program at the next level, we got a whole bunch of names all over the state scrolling across our ticker, and he's a lineman, so they don't get a lot of love or glory, if you will. You guys just wrapped up a 7-on-7. I think it was you guys and NSA, Hampton Roads Academy Catholic. Tell us what you gained from 7-on-7, because once you get out of June and July, you hit August, 7-on-7 is over, but there are some pluses and benefits to it, aren't there?
Yeah, first off, you get to compete against other teams, get to meet other coaches, because Coach Duncan's new from NSA, so I got to meet him, and just create some friendly competition, some rivalry stuff that'll carry over to the season. But yeah, you're right. 7-on-7 is not the game of football. It's a fun part of the game. It's a fun aspect of the game, and it's really good to get guys out there and running plays and running routes. But in real football, you don't count to 5 alligators, and then the quarterback has to throw the football. So we get a lot out of it because it helps us with timing and rhythm and so forth, and just gets the kids' mindset right for formations and motions and shifts as you move into the season. But yeah, the real game is a lot more physical, a lot more violent, which is what I love.
Well, better to count to 5 alligators than dodge 5 of them. That would be
That's
a little more difficult. Hey, you have a guy in the trenches who is one of the best in the 757 in all of Virginia. People will see his name scrolling across in a moment here. Hunter Wynn, 6'5", 310, headed to Liberty. Tell us what makes him so unique and special for you guys.
Yeah, Hunter has been on varsity since his freshman year, and it's been awesome to watch him develop on the field and also as a young man in terms of his character development. He's becoming a leader, a captain of the football team, and so forth. But yeah, you're right. You can't deny or miss his size. He's certainly big and strong, but he's also really athletic. He moves well. You can't get a scholarship offer to a place like Liberty without being big and agile and mobile. So his footwork is really impressive. He's got good speed, good power. I think the thing that separates him and a lot of the college coaches during this process, when they were talking to me about his film, that stands out is, he's got a little bit of a nasty side to him, a little bit of an edge. We talk about a coin has not 2 sides, a coin has 3 sides, right? Heads, tails, and then the edge. And Hunter plays with the edge. I mean, he finishes blocks, he pancakes people, he can flip dudes over. He's as aggressive in space and in the trenches as I've ever seen, and coaches love seeing that. He just the level of intensity and passion he plays with really jumps out off the film.
I love that. Heads, tails, and an edge. So next time Ed always says, call in the air heads or tails, I'm going with the edge here. As we chat with Steve Monninger, head football coach of the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. We'll dive into the schedule here in a moment. You'll get a chance to view it as they have Currituck, North Carolina coming up in just a few weeks on the road. Also have some intriguing home games in their kickoff classic with St. Christopher's and a public-private school matchup that we'll dig into. But tell the folks about other players on the offensive side of the ball before we flip to the defense that will be key factors for you in addition to Hunter Wynn, if you can.
Yeah, I think the neat part about our team this year is we've got good perimeter speed and good athleticism all around. Reed Fox is another captain, senior, who on defensive side of the ball led the team in interceptions last year, but he plays slot receiver for us, and he's definitely a threat running the ball and receiving. Thomas Newman is another senior. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, a really big target receiving the ball, which is really awesome. So we're excited about that. We have another senior named Gunnar Zimmerman playing tight end for us, another big target as well. I'm also excited about our running backs. Parks Andrews is a compact and tough and strong running back. He's going to be a junior for us this year. We also have a new student athlete named Cortland Simmons, who came from Weddington, North Carolina, who has shown this summer that he's one of the fastest, strongest kids in our program. We're going to use him certainly on both sides of the ball and just try and create different ways to get the ball to these guys. And at quarterback, Davis Stedman was our backup last year. Very good baseball player, big, strong kid, and is going to take over the reins this year with some other competition of another quarterback. But I think it's going to be really, really special for him to distribute the ball to different guys, and we don't have just one go-to guy all the time. We haven't in our offense typically. So this year, I think distributing the ball is going to be really important for us.
Yeah, a season ago, Will Foley made so many big plays for you now at Hampton, Sydney. Really, you don't replace a player of that ilk with just one individual. It's sort of by collectively, isn't it?
Yeah, Will was really special, a super dynamic athlete, and ran with great balance and could break tackles, really elusive. We got him the ball in a lot of different ways, whether it was wildcat or screen game or in the pass game, etc. So yeah, with him graduating, yeah, there's not just like one answer. But I think what we're going to do is create a lot of different ways to get lots of guys the ball, and I think we've done a really good job of that with our offense over the past few years. Of that way, there's not one thing to key on for the defense, and it's worked well for us.
And going over to the defensive side of the ball, Coach, you have 5 regulars back, including that 6'5", 310 guy going to Liberty and Hunter Wynn. You got to play them both ways, don't you?
Yeah, at our school we play guys both ways. We can't play platoon football, but it's been good for us. A lot of those guys are able to play both ways and special teams. We'll find ways to get them rest. We'll definitely rotate a lot of defensive linemen in. I'm also excited about our linebacking core. Sean Duffy is a really good linebacker for us. Parks Andrews will be there as well. Gunnar Zimmerman, and Newman, and we have another player named Jacob Dyer who's been pretty special for us this summer, who fought some injuries last year, but he's super fast and explosive. He's going to start as our nickel linebacker. So overall, it's a really good group.
A few minutes here with Norfolk Academy head football coach Steve Monninger, our guest on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and interact with us wherever you are tuning in and viewing the show. And season opener not that far off in the distance, Coach, as you take on Currituck of North Carolina on the road Friday, August the 22nd. But the game that jumps out to me, certainly that's a game that matters to you guys, because you always have to say you can't take any other game before the other ones. You can't take game 6 before game 1 or game 4 before game 2. You have a matchup with Granby on the slate, who had a really nice year a season ago and made some noise out of the Eastern District playoff team. Tell us how that came about, because we don't always get those public versus private matchups, but I know for the kids in the community, it's something pretty neat.
Yeah, it's kind of rare to get a matchup like that. We're really excited about it. We know they're an excellent program, and we're going to have our hands full for sure. But we're excited about the matchup. One, because we're looking to not travel as much. So in Vista, it's a lot of work for us to go to Northern Virginia, and 3.5-hour rides is not uncommon for us. So we kept poking around for some opportunities to play more locally and get a little more buzz in the 757. And through some connections with our athletic directors, it seemed to work out. And we're really excited about it, and I think it's going to draw a really good crowd. We get them home this year, and we'll play them at their place next year. And I just think more eyes will be on it, which is a lot of fun for the area and for our student athletes.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool, because that game is going to be with the Comets of Granby on Friday, October 17th, 6:30 matchup, as it's one of those games that will be coming your way before you close out the regular season with collegiate school and with Catholic. Just recently, the VHSL came out with its schedules for the public schools, Coach, and this is the first year they're not keeping the PowerPoints for the power ratings that they release every week. It's going to be up to individual regions and administrators to do that. Fill the folks in on how it's working for the private schools, all the different levels. With Vista, you have Division 1, 2, and 3. What are the pros and cons? Where does it stand? Do you see any changes coming in future years? What's your view of it, big picture, if you can?
It's a little bit convoluted. They end up using a combination of points in conjunction with polls. So coaches' polls and points, and at the end of the day, basically they pick the top 4 teams in Division 1 and Division 2, and they just play a Final Four, which I think is healthy. There's been talk about moving it to 6 or 8 teams, and then seasons start to extend into basketball and wrestling season. I question whether that's the right way to go. It is pretty selective, because if you're that 5th team, and we've been that 5th team the past couple of years, that kind of on the outside looking in, I'm not saying we deserved it, but we were right on that bubble to make the D1 Vista playoffs. So it's not like a set system. Basically, the end result is from that poll, and they look at matchups and who beat who, and not everyone plays everyone. So it's a little bit, the poll matters a lot. But I think every year they do a good job of getting the best 4 in that group.
Yeah, it is it's so tricky because, and I think this applies to both the VISA with the private schools and the VHSL with public programs. I don't know that there is a perfect way to do it. I did speak with a coach this week out from Southwest Virginia. And he's like, he's glad that they're sticking with a power rating system because it's better than just giving X amount of points for a win, X amount of points for a loss. The quality of your opponent should matter, which you guys sort of get with the poll factor, right?
We do, yeah. The coaches kind of have an idea of who beat who, and all the records and scores are all kept in one little database. So you can scan it and see it. And if you're not sure of someone, you just check it out and see what their scores were like and see how they matched up. And yeah, I think overall it works. Anytime you have a situation where the adults are in charge of everything and they're thinking of themselves first, it doesn't work. But as long as you're thinking of the aspect for the player experience, the student athlete experience, as long as that's a priority, then I'm all good with it.
And lastly, thank you so much for coming on the time. Should be an exciting time for you guys in the TCS and the private school football scene. You got Granby on the slate. You have the rivalry game with Catholic at the end. I know there's some other twists and turns with different schools, such as Norfolk Christian having club football this year. When it's all said and done, the dust settles. What in your eye will determine how much success you have, besides the obvious ones of we got to take care of the ball, Matt, run the ball, stop the run, and stay healthy?
Yeah, it's neat because this is the greatest team sport ever created, and every week you go in trying to have a 1-0 mindset, and you're going to take 1 week at a time and try and win that game. Whether you win or lose, you buckle up the next week and you have another 1-0 mindset. So yeah, certainly we want to put a great product on the field on Friday nights, and we want to win football games, and we have a talented group of kids, and we're ready to go do that. But all of the coaches out there that are in this for the right reasons are thinking about success and defining success. It mostly comes down to how do these young men grow? How do they grow in terms of character, in terms of toughness, in terms of accountability, loyalty, friendships? That is the most important thing. And whether you have a winning record or a losing record, I fall back and think about those moments and really debate and analyze. Did they get better as young men? Did they get closer? Are these friendships and relationships things that are going to last well into their 20s and 30s? And I think that's the most important thing, that quality relationships are built and they grow as young men.
Fantastic. He is the head football coach of the Bulldogs of Norfolk Academy. Steve Monninger, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the summer, the little bit left you have, and we'll see you on the gridiron.
Appreciate it, Matt. Thank you so much.
That is Steve Monninger, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk. We've got more coming your way. Don't touch that dial. You're watching Cova Sports TV.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
James Qatar.
Hey, it's joke time. And we're here to tell you that Orange didn't win the race. But why did the Orange not win the race? Because it ran out of juice. Gotta go find the juice, man.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome everybody back. I am the Coach Ed Young, and my partner, Matt Hatfield, who's normally on screen right now. He's busy setting up an interview with Anthony Hawkins, the head football coach of the Norcom Greyhounds. Matt had a chance to catch up recently with Coach Hawkins to talk about the upcoming season for the Greyhounds. Let's see what they had to say right here on Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with Norcom head football coach Anthony Hawkins as Greyhounds getting ready for the 2025 campaign as they're competing at the Lansdowne team camp in Virginia Beach. Coach, an annual tradition here as you come off the season making the region final in 3A. Some new schools in 3A as Lafayette moves up, the team you fell to in the region final. And though TJ of Richmond, who you played regular season, moves down to 2. Give me your thought. You obviously have the stud who's now at Penn State and Matthew out and gone, but I know you're excited about some of these young pups growing up, right?
Right, most definitely. We have a very young team, but we're talented. So now it's all about learning, execution, during this off season. That's why we're here at this team camp, just to get better as a team, to unify as a team.
Tell me about some of the key components. I know it starts with you in the running game, and Carly Franklin's one that shows some promise for you and a lot of potential.
Yes. He's a rising senior. He played 7 games for us last year. He had some other personal things going on, but in them 7 games, he had around 726 yards, 5 touchdowns. So he's going to be a big factor for us this year in the run game.
I know a season ago just so big up front. Is the offensive line going to really dictate what type of success you have, especially early on? You played a really rugged out-of-district schedule last year, and you got through that and was peaking come playoff time.
Right. Well, I have a rugged schedule this year too. Also, it's just to prepare us for the postseason and get these guys on another level. I lost Major Green to IMG. We got a good pipeline here in Norfolk with talent going to these schools, high schools and colleges, but we have a great O-line, a lot of guys that came back from last year. 4 guys came back from last year.
And speaking on that, losing a Major Green, you've been still keeping upbeat about it because a lot of coaches will be upset about that. But you realize the nature of the beast and where we are with intercollegiate athletics, high school sports. You're still rooting for that young man, but also trying to develop these young kids you have. Tell us a little bit of kind of your mindset and thought process with everything.
Well, most definitely, it's about the student athlete, so whatever is the best for his advantage, his or her advantage. So take that. And, it's a win-win situation, So I have a good relationship with Major and his father and his family. So that was a good move for him, but it's bringing us notoriety too, bringing us exposure, again, guys to come in. So, we're going to be fine.
Sure. And Norcom's produced a lot of athletes, even on the basketball court with Dorian Finney-Smith is now in the NBA. New quarterback. Tell me about him and how he's developing a couple days here through the team camp.
Man, Emery Hurt, man, he has a great IQ for the game, man. He's athletic, he can throw the ball, he listens very well, and that's the key to being a great QB. Listening and communicating, talking to your coaches. He's going to be a great threat this year.
Defensively, what's your expectation? Maybe a couple of names to watch out for.
We're going to play fast. We're going to play physical. We're going to execute. We got great coaching staff on that side of the ball. We got guys like Jari Whitfield, linebacker, been here 3 years. Jonathan Weaver Jr., another linebacker. We have Tyree Tabron is going to anchor the D-line. We also have a Power 5 DN with Trey Styles. He's a great DN. He's very athletic, very strong. So we have a plethora of guys on defense that can make plays.
And what's going to be the key in your eyes to maximizing your potential? Every coach says, if you take care of the ball, do the little things, the small details, stay injury-free, you have a chance. What's your perspective on it?
That's it. You're right. We got to stay injury-free. It's a long season. You want to play past Thanksgiving. That's always our goal. So, you know, we have to stay injury free. We have to stay vigilant to what our goal is. That's to, you know, win with district, region, states. So that's our mindset. It's having a strong mindset and keeping that going throughout this journey.
Well, going out to Portsmouth and check out Coach Hawkins and the Greyhounds. You'll have a good time with the band playing, the great food, and the football. It's fun, too. Thank you so much, buddy.
Appreciate you, man.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
I'm Dr. Mark Cardelia, orthopedic surgeon and surgical director of the CHKD Sports Medicine Program. We see a lot of knee injuries in student athletes these days, and many of these are ACL tears. Parents often ask how to know when a knee injury may be serious. The most obvious symptom is severe pain or swelling in the knee joint. Your child may have heard a pop when the injury occurred. Look for signs they can't put weight on the knee around 48 hours after the injury, or if the knee feels unstable or wobbly. Those are all signs you should see a CHKD sports medicine specialist. Our sports medicine physicians, surgeons, athletic trainers, and physical therapists understand the needs of growing athletes and tailor treatment to fit each child's age and level of activity. Our goal is to accurately diagnose the problem in a timely fashion and provide the treatment that will ensure a safe return to activity. Kids want to play, and we want to help them get back in the game. To learn more, visit chkd.org. Sports medicine at CHKD. We're more than a hospital.
I've always had a philosophy that I gave to my players way back in the day, was to put on a desk. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
I was blessed in high school to be recruited by over 200 colleges. Lefty stands out as the most creative in that regard.
You know, great sports figures in Washington. You had Vince Lombardi, then George Allen, and you had Ted Williams, and then you had Lefty Driesell. I mean, it's pretty unique pedestal for him to be on.
A lot of people think I got fired. Well, they didn't fire me. I got my salary every August the 1st. for 9 years. The ACC was great. I mean, it was a great league, and everywhere you played, it was a sellout crowd, and got a lot of press and stuff. And the year Jimmy Valvano won the ACC, we beat him twice during that year.
You have some coaches.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Son is coaching. Your grandkids is coaching.
Yeah.
Is it a chip off the old block?
My son Chuck was my assistant for a long time. He's a basketball coach now, making a living coaching. I got 3 grandsons that are making a living coaching. So I got 4 of my family that are still coaching.
67 years.
Yeah.
You all have been married. What do you attribute to the longevity and the ability to make it work for 67 years?
Well, see, first of all, it's kind of weird the way we got married.
Yeah, you eloped.
Yeah, we eloped. Charlie was the first black basketball player to sign at Davidson. No, yeah, you did. Yeah, that's right. Because he committed. And
I committed to Davidson.
He did sign. I got your letter right here.
The seed that was planted by Lefty Driesell, and from that grown Charlie Scott and Charles Scott, who he is today.
I believe he actually signed with you. We're talking about Moses Malone, but he never went and played there. How disappointing was that for you?
We went to the final 8 that year without Moses. If we'd had Moses, I'd have 4 or 5 national championship rings right now. When I got in the Hall of Fame, they said you could invite a couple of people to go up on stage with you. So I invited Mike Krzyzewski, because I went to Duke, George Raveling, who was my first assistant at Maryland, and then John Thompson, who was my good friend and my rival when I was at Maryland. Big John was up there. But I would have had Moses if he would have been alive.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
And we welcome you back here to 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV on YouTube and interact with us. We have a special guest with us. He is the new head football coach of the Princess Anne Cavaliers in Virginia Beach, year 1 at the helm. And it makes me feel old because I remember not too long ago, I felt like yesterday, watching this young fella throw touchdown passes down the field for the Great Bridge Wildcats. We say hello and congrats to Casey Turner. It hasn't been that long ago, Coach, but hey, playing days are over and you're now coaching these guys that want to be the next Casey Turner or Logan Hasty or Dre Mays or fill in the blank, maybe their own, superstar name, if you will.
It's pretty crazy that it's come, how far it's come this way. I think that we might have a quarterback that's on that trajectory, and we'll find out this year once he kind of steps out and, introduces himself. He got some reps last year and won for us when I was at Kings Fork, and now he's over at Princess. I look forward to coaching him up. His name is Gabe Craig.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
And then what was your other question, Matt? I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect. Let's do this though before we dive into the players that are going to be key factors for you trying to turn this thing around at Princess Anne, because the Cavaliers have fallen on some hard times as of late. 37 straight losses, I think it is now, and have not won a whole lot of games. Just a few winning seasons in the last couple of decades. You have been coaching. For those folks that don't know it, he's not hit the age of 40 yet, but you've been coaching high school and college ball. So fill the folks in. What happened to Casey Turner after you left Great Bridge? Because you went on to play at UConn, right?
Yes, sir. So I went to UConn. I was there for 2.5 years. And then I transferred to Elizabeth City State, go Vikings, which is where I graduated from. after that, I jumped right into coaching at Bishop Sullivan Catholic with my father, Carl Turner. We won a state championship in our second year there. From there, I went back to college football, where I was a quarterbacks coach from my alma mater at Elizabeth City State. After Elizabeth City, I started at Kings Fork with Scotty Littles. We turned that program around in 2 years. We were co-Southeastern District champions. And then from there, I got the opportunity to go play for one of my mentors, Dr. Alvin Parker. I went to go coach with him at Virginia Union University as the quarterbacks coach and pass game coordinator. Then once COVID hit, it just kind of made me put some things into perspective. I hadn't seen my daughter, grow up very much. I was commuting from Norfolk to Richmond on a daily basis for almost 3 years. So once COVID hit, I decided just to stick with the high school route to watch my kids grow up. And hopefully, I've kept enough connections and I do a well enough job to go back to college football once my kids are kind of old enough to understand why dad's not home all the time.
There you go. Well, you brought up Kings Fork when you were there, snapping that 99-game Southeastern District winning streak of Oscar Smith's 2017, if I remember right. Now, I want to say, now you correct me if I'm wrong on this. You were the OC down up that fourth down play for, was it Justin German to Sherrod Joe for that go-ahead touchdown late? It had to feel sweet for you, though you're not the guy delivering it, to finally beat the Tigers, because nobody had, and they had tormented you and haunted you during your playing career, right?
Yes, and we've turned Great Bridge around, but that was the one game that we never were even close in. So, being able to beat them, and there's only, I think, been a handful of staffs across the area that have beaten Oscar Smith in the years since Richard Morgan took over, and then Bill D, Scott Johnson, Chris Scott. Not a lot of guys have been able to say that they've beaten the Tigers. They're a top-notch program and one of the best in the state year in and year out. And that was something that I was very happy to, be able to get over that barrier. And you get that as a coach, how that feeling is, and you can actually instill that into your players. Us being in the Beach District with Green Run, they're another program that is phenomenal. And those are the teams that, you're striving for the top of the mountaintop, and you got to be able to coach your kids to get to that point. So, that's definitely something that we're working on every day. Is our motto is brick by brick. So it's something that we've torn it down to the studs. We're working on the foundation now, and hopefully in the coming years, we can get this program to where they once were.
Yeah, we're going to get into that here in a moment. And some of the key names to watch out for as the Cavaliers season opener is not that far off in the distance against rival Bayside, coming up on August the 28th at 6:30, the kickoff time for that. Casey Turner, our guest, former all-Tidewater standout quarterback from the Great Bridge Wildcats, who's now in his first year at the helm of Princess Anne High here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. But before we dig into that a little bit here, Casey, I want to go to your college stops, because certainly there were some things that you probably soaked up during your times, Elizabeth City State, Virginia Union, even your time as a player, that have helped you on this journey, this odyssey, if you will, and you'll apply to this situation at PA. What would those be?
Well, I was fortunate enough. I played for Randy at Connecticut, and he was a very, regiment-oriented coach. It's going to be done this way. If you don't like it, you can go. But fortunately, we had awesome offensive coordinators. My first year coordinator, there was Rob Ambrose, who went on to be the Townsend head coach for about, I think, 15 or 16 years. Phenomenal human being, a great football mind. And after he left after my freshman year, Joe Moorhead came in, who was just an absolutely outstanding guy. He's an amazing football coach. He's been the OC at Oregon, Penn State. He's been the head coach at Mississippi State. And he's one of those guys that I've tried to model myself after. Same with Coach, Dr. Alvin Parker, phenomenal person. He does everything the right way. The kids love him, no matter if they're starters or if they're the last guy on the bench, just because he coaches every single player up. And, those are the coaches that I've really tried to model myself after. Another one being Pete Gale, the guy that I played for growing up. Brian Boroboom, who unfortunately passed away last year from cancer. He had a really big influence on me as a high school quarterback. Just as far as, hey, you're not a freshman or a sophomore. He didn't look at ages. He taught you how football was supposed to be played, how he wanted it done. And that's what his expectations were. And, every coach that I've had, I've tried to gain something from, because you have to be a sponge in this profession if you want to be successful. You're never done learning. You can learn something from a kid every day. You can learn something from an assistant coach every day. And that's where I've really tried to take my career in that direction.
Well, and last year, Princess Anne finished up the season with just 23 players. You've more than doubled that here as you've started up practices. Just the player participation. How have you gone about trying to revive things there? And then let's dig into some of those names. I know you talked about the new quarterback in Gabe Craig, who you're familiar with from the time at Kings Fork. But give me kind of the blueprint on how you get this thing fixed sooner than later, because none of us are patient anymore in this world. We want it now, instant. I know it doesn't take all the time now, instant, but how do you accelerate the process, if you will?
First and foremost is trust. I tried to bring in a staff I brought in a lot of young guys that were hungry. And then I obviously at the coordinator positions, I brought in guys that I really trust. Trust has to be translated to the players. We started out in the weight room. My first day there, we had 11 kids. Now we are currently sitting at 67. And it was something that once the kids in the building started hearing how weightlifting was going, how they were being they're being coached, they're not being just yelled at, and they're being taught the game of football. It's something that now every teacher makes kids come out for football. I have the middle school behind me now as far as Independence Middle School, and then we have the IB program with Plaza that we get that feeder school. And, we had 26 kids come from Independence. Last year, I believe they had 5 to 7. So, it's something that a new coaching turnover can be a blessing, but also at the same time, you have to make sure that those kids are coming in and they're getting the right message from the seniors that have had a really hard time, their entire time in high school. So, another one that has been amazing is RJ Allen, running back, middle linebacker. The kid is an absolute tank, and he's an amazing person character-wise as well. The other day he squatted, I think 525. He's over 1,500 pounds in the weight room for his 4 core lifts. And he comes every day, works hard. He's been a great recruiter of kids in school. Another one is receiver Gabe Williams. He's a basketball kid that played football half the year last year, but left, and now he's back. And he's another one that has helped me comb the hallways for, baseball players, basketball players, track guys, lacrosse guys, soccer kids. Just getting every kid that we can to buy into the program. Those two have been instrumental in really helping the turnout change and the culture change for what we want going forward.
A few more minutes here with Casey Turner. He's the new head football coach of the Princess Anne Cavaliers, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and interact with us here as we're almost ready for the first game, as PA will be playing host to Bayside on August the 28th. And Coach, you mentioned RJ Allen and Gabe Williams, Gabe Craig, some of the key components as you try to get this PA program making noise sooner than later in year one at the helm. And how much do you got your father, by the way, on the staff, and Carl Turner, who's been a successful coach in his own right. How much do you also try to pick the brains of Pops, other coaches in the building, whether it's Darnell Dozier, who's got more state titles than fingers and toes, or other sport programs? Do you just try to see how do I do this, and how much are you asking questions, trying to just be a sponge, if you will?
So on my my side with my father, he has been one of the most influential people in my life. He is an executive for Bauer Compressors. And that is one of the bigger things that I've kind of learned from him is he took a job right out of college that he didn't necessarily want to do, but he had a family, so he had to provide. And he went every day, day in and day out, and worked his butt off to get to the point where he is now. He's been there, I believe, 45 years now. And he is one of the smartest people as far as business is concerned that I've ever met. He was an amazing father. We butted heads, obviously, being a teenager growing up, but as an adult now, it's really made me come to appreciate how great of a person he is. And then Coach Dozier, I've talked to him a couple times so far. He's a quiet general, if I can say that. He has an expectation. Every girl that comes in that gym knows his expectation. He has great assistant coaches, and he doesn't say a whole lot. He coaches in practice, and during games, he lets his players play. And, I've been to a couple girls' basketball games. They're up 55 points at halftime. I mean, it is absolutely insane to watch. They are an incredible unit and a powerhouse in the country. So, that is something where hopefully I can get a little bit more time to talk with him, but he is definitely an impressive human being and a Hall of Famer. I'm lucky to be in the same building as him.
For sure. Now, last two let you run here. What drew you to this Princess Anne situation? Because certainly, in your 30s, you've been coaching as an assistant on the high school side of things, been at the collegiate level. You can go a lot of different places. What was it about PA that attracted you?
So growing up as a kid, my dad would take me to see Princess Anne at their height. So, when they had CJ Phaeton at quarterback and Kai Parham and Cedric Humes, I got to see that growing up as a kid. And it was, they hadn't had that much success up until, Tony Grimes' year when they were there. But even then, they still were very short on kids as far as only having 35 to 40 varsity kids. There was a couple jobs open this year in PA. I'd interviewed there previously. And I really think with them being in town center and being such a central location as far as the beach schools, it's something that they should be a top-notch program with their demographic, with the type of money that you can raise in that area, with the communal support from the entire town center is something that, we've been trying to work on to get going forward. But I wanted to do something that hadn't been done. And everybody wants to get back to their alma mater. I hadn't coached a team that had these difficulties yet. And I thought, when I interviewed with Mr. Tarkenton and Coach Brummage, the SAC, they really showed me that they want to win, and they've done everything in their power so far to help me to that point. And now obviously we have Dr. Schubart, who's our principal. Mr. Tarkenton retired, but these guys want to win and have given me the resources and, the backing to have a successful football program. And I think that so far in our early relationship, we've shown some pretty good returns early on. So obviously the wins and the win column are what is important for building a program. But I think that we have the base foundation for these kids and what we want going forward to succeed.
That's terrific. And I'm so glad you brought up old school names like Kai Parham, who went to UVA, and CJ Phaeton, Tennessee, Cedric Humes, Virginia Tech. I remember watching those guys. And it's not been that long removed since Tony Grimes was a 5-star defensive back wearing the blue and white and red of Princess Anne colors. So my last question to you, Casey, is you played college football, UConn. You've done something that a lot of kids dream to do, play at the Power 4, Power 5 level, Division I, and you've got the ear of a lot of these parents and kids now. Certainly you could have had some kids leave your program and you want to keep the ones from migrating to other schools across the area, wherever. What's the biggest thing that you tell them in terms of advice as far as how do they get recruited, why they should stay? What are the things you're telling them? Because now it is such a weird dynamic sometimes with the way we are operating with social media being so prevalent and a lot of player movement, the high school and college level. What are the things that you're trying to tell them and I guess instill in them?
So what I like to tell the parents first and foremost is every kid is not a Division I athlete. And it's very hard. Most kids, Division II still pays for school. And it's something that Division II, there's a lot of Division II colleges across the country that give academic and athletic scholarship. So, Division I play is something that when I was in high school, luckily I won the genetics lottery and I was 6'5". And also the work behind it that is required to be a Division I athlete, I don't think a lot of parents realize. As far as I worked out 7 days a week, almost 9 months out of the year when I was in high school, whether that was working out with the football team, throwing on the side with receivers, going to speed training with Rick Cox. I was always doing something 7 days a week to try to get to that level. And sometimes the parents want it and the kids don't. Sometimes the kids want it, and unfortunately their size just doesn't dictate a Division I level or their speed. But, I tell the parents, if you get college paid for, that's the ultimate goal. And that's something that I didn't realize until I was a junior in college, how important, get that degree, because it's something that you'll have the degree forever. Football ends, and, how that ends and where you go is based off of, you being in college, getting a good education, and then whether you want to get back to coaching or, 5% of college athletes go to Division I, or high school athletes, I'm sorry, and of that 5%, 1% go to the NFL. So, everybody wants to go to the NFL, but I don't think they have necessarily the mindset or the size. It's tough to get to that level. So, going forward with our kids, I tell them, hey man, if you're able to get a Division I, Division II, get academic money, Division III, the biggest thing is getting college paid for with how expensive that is nowadays.
Yeah, so true. It's a lot of factors. Winning the genetic lottery is part one. Then you got to have some breaks along the way and different things go right for you. Well, it should be a lot of fun. The enthusiasm, it's building and you're brimming with it. Casey Turner and the Princess Anne Cavaliers get it kicked off on August the 28th. As you see across our ticker against the Bayside Marlins. And then they follow up with Kempsville, Green Run, Lansdowne, Ocean Lakes, FC, Tallwood, Kellam, Cox, and Salem for the Beach District schedule. Thank you so much, my friend. All the best to you in year one and beyond. And I'm sure we'll be in touch and watching how things grow over there.
All right. Thank you so much, Matt. You have a wonderful day, sir.
You too. That's Casey Turner, the head football coach of the Princess Anne Cavaliers, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk. More coming your way. Don't touch that dial. You're watching Cova Sports TV.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
We're ready for joke time. What's a pirate's favorite type of basketball shot? A jump hook. Who doesn't love a jump hook?
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good morning to everybody. Welcome back. I apologize for the fool in the pool jokes by my partner who has been dunked under the water right now. He's trying to recover. Some people like him, most people don't. He sneaks them in. I've tried to get litigation to get rid of it, but it's still ongoing. But one thing he is real good at is interviewing people, coaches, players, whoever. I will give Matt Hatfield credit for that. And we had the opportunity for Matt to speak to one of the best edge rushers this upcoming football season here, and that's Treyvon Litton from Deep Creek High School. 6'2", 235, getting offers from a variety of different level programs here in Virginia. I know JMU's on them. Good grades. Kids got well over a 3.3 GPA. That's why some of the big boys, but academics want them. Let's see what he had to say with Matt Hatfield right here on Cova Sports TV.
I'm here with Deep Creek class of 2026 defensive and outside linebacker hybrid Treyvon Litton as his Hornets are competing, getting ready for the season, and your senior season upon us. Treyvon, how's the offseason grind been for you and your squad?
It's been good, Coach. You already know there's going to be kinks. No team is always perfect in the offseason, but we're getting through it, Coach, finding out our strengths, finding out our weakness, and working at it every day, Coach.
Working on this showcase held at Indian River High School in Chesapeake in front of college coaches. What's this mean to you and your teammates, like trying to ball out and get some exposure in front of them?
Everything means, starts always back at home, and we just got to trust what we do here over here.
Last couple years, you guys as a number 7 seed surprised a lot of people, beating Cox in the playoffs first round. 2 years ago as an 8 seed, almost knocked off Greenwood as the 1 seed. What is it about your team flying under the radar? Then come playoff time, you guys can be upset killers, if you will.
So much at stake, Coach. We bring the intensity as we should in the regular season, but we just something about the playoff season. It's that weather. Just brings the best out of everybody.
Fill us in on your recruitment. I believe you got a couple of offers so far. Who's in the picture? I know JMU's offered just one, if I'm not mistaken.
JMU, Norfolk State, UVA, ODU.
Okay. Are you a kid that's looking at some schools in state, out of state? Have you given that much thought as far as where you might choose for your destination?
Both. Okay. JMU sounds really good, as well as ODU.
Okay.
But I'm open to in-state and out-of-state.
Okay, you like both of those. What do you like? Let's start with the Dukes. What do you like about JMU? Then we'll talk about ODU.
I love the campus. I took an unofficial visit up there, sir, and it felt really good. Atmosphere was live. Campus was clean. I also took a visit to ODU. I love the atmosphere, too. The weight room looked amazing. I felt at home there, too, as well.
Sure. Anybody you haven't gotten off from that you're hoping to get one from here soon?
D2 program, Emory and Henry.
Okay.
And probably William and Mary.
William and Mary's one. Okay, I know they got a guy from Deep Creek on the staff, and Razai Dowling. And did you grow up any childhood favorites, or anybody that you really looked up to a lot as far as schools? Or
Probably Louisville. I love the Cardinals.
What was it about Louisville? What was it about Louisville you loved?
Well, first, as a kid, I kind of flowed to the brighter colors, but I love Lamar Jackson. And then I saw their coach too, and he really inspired me to first start playing football in general too as well.
I believe you've gotten some all-region accolades, a bunch of sacks last year. How many sacks have you gotten in the last couple of years?
Probably, I want to say 2 years of varsity, 20.
Okay. What makes you such an effective pass rusher, in your opinion? What are your skills that set you apart?
Being relentless, hard worker, finishing when the whistle's blown, and working at your craft every day, analyzing the little details as much high school players don't do.
Sure.
The little things that matter.
No question about it. Last couple ones for you here, Treyvon. What have you gotten better at from freshman year to now as a football player? Where have you improved the most?
Probably my mentality. Not taking anything for granted. If the opportunity comes, approaching it now head on, not being scared looking back.
Any players you like watching on Saturdays or Sundays in pro and college football that you try to study and put parts of their game into yours?
Personally, I'd like to follow Everson Griffin, Daniil Hunter of the Vikings and the Texans.
All right.
Love their game. Love the Daniil Hunter spin move as well. I feel like his clean pass rush is really amazing to watch. As well as Myles Garrett, too, as well. And Hassan Reddick, the Jets. I know he played with the Eagles last year.
Yeah.
As well.
It's a good one. Versatility.
And then, my bad.
No, go ahead.
Saturdays, probably – I forgot his name. I know he went to JMU. He goes to Rutgers right now. But I remember watching him 99. Great DN. Had, 15 sacks last year.
Okay. Good deal.
Tackle for loss.
Sure.
Great.
Last two for you. Have you given it thought about when you want to make a decision for college? Would you like to do it before your senior season? What will be the factors that weigh into that?
I'd like to do it before my senior season or early into it.
Okay.
And the fact is just atmosphere, how it feels at home if I get taken in.
Okay.
Just feeling like family and fairness, all that.
Sure. And lastly, what can we expect from you in the Hornets this coming season? What will determine how far you guys go, in your opinion?
Our work ethic, we always go both ways, which makes us even harder, more grind, grit, and we never back down. And I feel like our relentlessness and our hard working efforts will going to get us far in this 2025 season.
There you go. You watch out for him. Purple Thunder and the Hornets, Treyvon Litton on Friday nights and coming on Saturdays very soon. Thank you so much.
So that was Treyvon Litton with us here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and check us out on YouTube and interact wherever you may be watching the program. Ed, it is now time for my top 10 VHSL football games. The schedule just got released as we turn the calendar from July to August. Are you ready to rate these? With this disclaimer, I did not pick any out-of-state games. All the games are being played in Virginia. There are some great out-of-state matchups. Oscar Smith plays Gonzaga up in D.C., and Maury goes to Cardinal Gibbons, and Verona from Richmond plays Grimsley. And I also took, a couple teams, only the maximum times of 2. I'm not going to have 3 or 4 teams in there, 3 or 4 times each. So are you ready to rate this and pick this apart and tell me how bad it is?
You know me, I can always let you know where you made mistakes.
Okay, so here we go with the top 10 games for 2025 in VHSL football. We're going to count them down in chronological, actually from 10 to 1, not when they start in August to into November. So here we go. Number 10 for me is Thomas Jefferson of Richmond at Hopewell. It's coming up on Friday, September the 19th. T-Ron Richardson, a big-time prospect for Hopewell on the defensive line. Amari Goff committed to Syracuse. And you have Isaiah Harris committed to Old Dominion for TJ at wide receiver. So that's game number 10. Any issue?
No. I'm thinking, did Jefferson lose a lot from last year, whereas Hopewell didn't?
No. They're going to be at top rank in Class 2. They moved on to Class 2, and Hopewell's in Class 3. So there you have it. Number 9, Madison at Westfield. It's Friday, October the 10th. It's a big Concord District rivalry, and for years, Westfield owned it, but Madison's coming off, I think, now 5 straight region titles. They lost that heartbreaker in the state finals. You remember, 2-point conversion to Oscar Smith. We'll see if Westfield can knock them off this go-round.
Probably you're right, one of the best games of September, October. There'll be a battle. This will be a battle. As you said, Westfield used to dominate much the way Madison is now.
Magna Vista, GW Danville. It's the regular season finale for these two. Big showdown end of the year. 6-7 is Magna Vista. The last 13 against GW. 6 of the 8 games. I should say 6 of those games have been decided by 8 points or less. 42-36 last year for GW. And how about this? The road team has won each of the past 7 encounters. Oh my, not so good news for the Eagles then, right?
You know, I'm going to go right now here. What's today's August 2nd? Give me GW Danville.
Number 7, we go back to Madison, except it's Stonebridge at Madison opener. They've had a couple doozies, a kickoff return score that won it for Madison a couple years ago. Year before that, Stonebridge on a kick at the end. Last year's was a blowout, but this looks to be 2 teams in Class 6, in Madison's case, Stonebridge in Class 5, that plan to be playing into December, and it's right out of the gate. Good one on a Thursday to end August, huh?
Yeah, that's a game I'd like to see more towards the end of the year, but a good one to start it off.
You know, the last time Dinwiddie and the Highland Springs played each other, do you have any idea? Any clue? Any inkling?
2014.
Great guess. You were close, but you were incorrect. Last time they played each other on the gridiron was, you got to go back to 2012. So you were a couple years away. That should be a fun one. Both those teams have designs of playing far into November and possibly December as well. How about this Seminole District rivalry, a spooky one on a Halloween night? LCA, Liberty Christian Heritage of Lynchburg. Couple times, Heritage has put LCA out of the playoffs. Last year, LCA beat Heritage twice, including 34-27 regular season. This one should be fun on a Halloween night.
Yeah, and I think this will be a high-scoring game, both teams in the 30s.
Okay, good call there. Oscar Smith, Kings Fork in Suffolk to close out September. Remember, a few years back, Kings Fork snapped the 99-game Southeastern District winning streak of Oscar Smith. A couple years ago, Kings Fork won behind Javon Ford. Didn't do so last year. Tigers won behind smothering defense. Does Kings Fork have the formula with Joshua Pittman, Virginia Tech commit on defense, to slow down the Michigan commit Travis Johnson, wide receiver for Lonnie Andrews, and that passing attack for the Tigers? Maybe the game of the year in the 7-5-7 got a chance to be, right?
Yeah, Kings Fork is going to be mighty sky high for this game, but I think Smith will find a way. This one will be a low-scoring game.
How about this? Are you going to go all the way out to Southwest Virginia for this one between Union and Graham, which I simply believe is now the best rivalry in the state. Started in 2012. Graham leads it 8-6. Better get there plenty early. They've met 9 times in the playoffs. Graham has won 5 of them, and 5 games have been decided by 1 possession, 8 points or less. This is a big-time game at Tazewell. We'll send you out there for it. How about that?
That might be a game, the most enjoyable game to watch, but they're 2 good teams that are going to go at it too. Hard to call.
Better than this one, though?
Oh, this game got some nice spice to it. These are 2 perennial playoff state contenders. Wow. And they're going to go at it in Richmond.
D1 commits, Ed. You got Braylon Hood, Furman for Verona, Michael Farley, Hampton, Sir Paul Cheeks, West Virginia, Jay Sean Bull Richardson, UVA, Damari Carter, UVA, and then for more, you got Javon Wiggins, William and Mary, Damon McDaniel Jr., NC Central, Elijah Moss Williams, James Madison, Isaiah Ike Simmons, Pittsburgh, A lot of college talent on the field.
A whole lot. A lot of firepower, too. You'd like to think it'd be high scoring, but they also have decent defenses. But I still think it's a game that could be well played defensively, and they can both score high. That's how good these teams are.
Number one, it's Highland Springs and Phoebus at Darling Stadium. Remember, Phoebus held the Springers to, I believe it was 2 first downs last year in a defensive grudge match. You say, why is that number one? Well, here's the reason why. Phoebus's win streak to enter the season is 49 in a row. This would be, if they start out 3-0, a chance to break the record they share with Riverhead's state record of 53 consecutive. There will be a palpable buzz for this matchup, and the Springers don't want to lose it. They want to win it to keep their hope alive to get a 1 seed and be on a nice little run to the playoffs. That's the game of the year to me, number one, at Darling, to see if Phoebus can get that record if it's in their grasp.
I don't have a problem with you putting it number one. The key is it's not an opening game. I think the more that it's an opening game, it's a little dicey to call it among the best, even though the two teams will be perennial. Here you got two perennial powers, but it's going to be into the season, so they've already played. Like you said, if Phoebus goes undefeated and takes this one, it sets a big-time record against a powerhouse squad that you don't normally see. But this is a big-time game. It's a big-time game. I don't have a problem with you picking it number one.
All right, so my list gets what kind of grade?
I'm going to give you A.
Ooh.
I'm going to give you an A. I got to call it like it is. I'm going to give you an A. I don't really have a heartache with any of them. I wish I could say a D-, which is what you were used to when you were in school getting. High school being the best 7 years of your life, though. You enjoyed it. I'll give you an A.
That was actually like 5.5, but that's okay. Stick around. You're watching 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Co Sports TV.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach, Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
And we welcome you back to Cova Sports TV and 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are delighted to be joined by a special guest. He is the beat writer for UVA for the Daily Progress. Check out all of his work online, dailyprogress.com. Give him a follow on the Twitter or the X2 at Greg Medea, all one word. He's a Heisman Trophy AP Top 25 voter, Jersey native, and maybe most importantly, a loyal Mets fan who is waiting for that great moment come October that they haven't had since 1986. Greg, happy summer. How you been, my friend?
Yeah, Matt, good to be on with you and Coach. It's good to see you guys. Summer's been good. It's been busy, right? Virginia, it's been a nonstop year. I feel like I've just kept going, right? There was the basketball coaching change in March, and then baseball season happened, and there was a baseball coaching change. So it's been nonstop on the UVA beat. Now only a couple of weeks away from the start of the football season. It's fun though. It's exciting. Keeps you on your toes.
It does. There's really no off season anymore. We'll dive into all the things with UVA as far as football being hot and heavy this time of year, but also get your thoughts on the baseball and basketball coaching things that have transpired here too. But I have to start with you being the Mets fan that you are. With what do you make of the deadline? Don't even worry about Friday night's extra innings loss to the Giants. That's in the past. But what do you make of the moves they've made? They bolstered a bullpen with Rogers and Soto and Helsley.
Yeah.
You got 6, 7, 8 Bridge to Diaz in the ninth. But Cedric Mullins, I just have this vision, and maybe if this is a good vision for you, we don't have a Frank the Tank rant coming in October, throwing things, screaming things, and you shaking your head as an 8th inning, 9th inning agonizing loss. But I can just see Cedric Mullins winning you a big playoff game. I think that was a great pickup.
Yeah, I like the makeup, the what he brings in center field too. Like the Mets really haven't had a a true center fielder who could hit a little bit. And since probably Curtis Granderson or when Brandon Nimmo was playing some center field, but Nimmo slid over to left now that he's a little bit more into his career, better equipped for a corner outfield spot. But Mullins excites me. And then the bullpen, it reminds me of teams that have won by shortening the game and taking some stress off the starting pitching. And the Mets, the starting pitching's kind of been up and down, was up early in the year. It's kind of been a mixed bag since. And I think this helps take some pressure off that starting staff that's dealt with some injuries.
Yeah, my Arizona Diamondbacks, as I rock with them. A couple of years ago, we had that moment in the Fall Classic. Got there shockingly, unexpectedly. We're not going anywhere since they got rid of Naylor and Suarez and Merrill Kelly. Did keep Zach Gallen and Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll, thankfully. So my new role is to root against the evil Dodgers and the evil Yankees, which also just gets Ed's goat. So if you happen to see LA again in the NLCS, I'm pulling for you this time around. So
I'll take it.
There you go. Let's jump to the Cavaliers. We'll start with the football side of things. And we just ran it across your ticker moments ago. The ACC had this. I'm not sure if you were down there for media days or not. You were? Okay, so great. You can give us a big picture look at just the entire conference in general, your thoughts on it. But 17 schools with the addition of Stanford and Cal, as well as SMU a year ago. And UVA was picked 14th out of 17. Fair, unfair? What'd you think?
I think it's just so hard for people in my job to put together these preseason polls. I'll be very honest with you, right? Because the rosters have changed so dramatically. So I think it's probably a little bit of people not knowing exactly what Virginia did in the transfer portal this offseason, and also the historic kind of the recent history with UVA, right? It hasn't been good under Tony Elliott. They've won 11 games in the last 3 years. As he reminded his team when they were running sprints yesterday at the end of practice, you'll get to see a portion of practice, and then you wait for interviews, and you could hear him as we were waiting on the other side of the fence for interviews. So it was interesting, and I think Virginia is aware of what its expectation is externally throughout the year. But I think overall that's probably fair if you don't know a lot about what's happened this past offseason. I think when you start to look at how much depth they've added through the transfer portal and how many more able and experienced players they have, I think you would move them up a few spots at least. I had them in my preseason vote. I believe 8th as I remember. And I think that's more because they have a competent, experienced quarterback and who's proven himself at the FBS level. They have some more capable offensive linemen. That's really been the weak point of Tony Elliott's roster since he arrived in Charlottesville. And they've done a lot to enhance the offensive line unit. And I think if they can fix that, they're a lot of their problems will get corrected and they'll be on the ascent. That's a big if, right? Because just because you bring all these talented transfers in, that you still got to put it together in time for the start of the season. So to me, that's kind of the biggest difference in where my head's at. I think the group is talented enough with some of the transfers they brought in, particularly Brady Wilson, the center from UAB. Played that position his entire career, knows how to communicate at the line of scrimmage. They brought in some tackle help, McKeelan Thomas. Now, he was in a boot yesterday in practice, riding around on a scooter as he was moving around a practice field. He was an all Sun Belt player at Arkansas State. They also have David Wallaba in from Syracuse, Kevin Wigginton in from Illinois, who started games earlier in his career at Michigan State. So they have some more experience. Tyshawn Wyatt from James Madison. So they've brought in some help on the O-line, and now they just got to figure out the 5 who will play. I think 3 starters locked in at this point are Mikhail Boley, who's back at UVA, and then Noah Josie, who's back. That's your left tackle, left guard, and then your center in Wilson. We'll see how they shake out right guard and right tackle. But I would think if they can fix the offensive line, the schedule is manageable enough that they should be able to run the football on offense and do some things they haven't been able to do in the past.
Yeah, Greg, it's interesting because one of our viewers last week was chiming in about some of the recent high school recruits, verbal commitments UVA's picked up, maybe getting a little bit more steam gaining here under Tony Elliott. And though they haven't had the results in terms of the win-loss record where they like, there's been some glimpses, some moments, some road upsets, if you will, at UNC, at Pitt. So maybe the urgency or the dire straits isn't what it is in Hokie land, their rival, which we'll probably touch on in a moment. But you hit on that offensive line, which is so pivotal, because I brought up to someone last week that, they used to get some 4 or 5-star guys under Mike London. They got some guys that went to the pros. The quarterback position was the issue. It feels like no matter who the trigger man is, they've given up, is it 90 sacks the last 2 years?
It's been a disaster. Yeah.
To get guys from programs that have either had success or they're vets, from UAB, Michigan State, that's got to go a long way towards protecting the QB, but also the running game, which has been a little hit or miss at times. I think it'll be a little more consistent potentially too.
Yeah, and that's been the objective since Tony Elliott and Des Kitchings got to Charlottesville before the 2022 season. Yeah, Elliott the coach and Kitchings the OC. And they've wanted to run the ball and be able to establish the running game. You've seen it very, very little that run game dominates and comes to fruition. That the one game where it pops out is last year's win at Coastal Carolina for them. When Xavier Brown ran for 170 yards and the team, I think, rushed for 341, if I have the stat correct off the top of my head. But I think they'd love to replicate more of that, where the passing game is there to help create balance in the offense, not be what they have to do to move the football. So I think they'd love to run the ball. They feel like with Wilson at center, and then Josie and Boley on the left side, they played a lot of football together. And I think Boley, with UVA bringing in some of these tackles, from what I've heard, maybe there's been a little bit of a fire lit for Boley, who has some NFL potential, right? His dad played in the NFL with the Falcons and the New York Giants. So to me, I think the O-line is the most critical aspect for this team. And if they can get the run game right, it'll help them tremendously. Like I look at what they have at running back too. They've loaded up on depth at running back in order to be able to run the football. Like, Matt, you remember last year, that Virginia Tech game was a disaster. They didn't have a running back to give the ball to. Noah Vaughn, who really hadn't been used all that much, he was forced into a starting role and just wasn't ready yet. They think he's talented and has a bright future, but wasn't ready yet. And then they had to slide Chris Tyree from slot to running back after he hadn't played the position in 2 years since his time at Notre Dame. So to me, with what they've done, Jamari Taylor in from NC Central, Harrison Whaley in from Wyoming, to run with Xavier Brown, that's a pretty good group, but it's probably going to be Taylor and Brown primarily. Taylor as the lead guy, Brown as the second guy, and then Whaley as the third guy. They haven't had that third guy, and then they're hoping whatever they can get out of Vaughn would be great. So I think that between the O-line and what they've done at running back, they've geared themselves up to be able to run the ball. The players just got to go execute now.
Yeah, just be adequate or at least capable to where it's not making you one-dimensional on offense. We're chatting with Greg Medea. He is the beat writer for UVA, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and also check out Greg's work, Daily Progress, in the paper there, also dailyprogress.com, and give him a follow on the X at Greg Medea. The schedule, Greg, I look at it, and it's that NC State game on the road early. If they're able to take it, I can hear the UVA fans already whispering, we got a chance to be 4-0 when Florida State comes to Charlottesville. But flipping over to the defense, Cam Robinson's an established name at the linebacker spot out of Essex High School in Tappahannock, Virginia. They haven't given up less than 24 points per game as a defense since 2018, which goes back to about 6-7 years when they last had winning seasons, or at least back-to-back winning seasons. How do they go about making other offenses one-dimensional? What's kind of the ceiling of this defense, the view of them as a whole, if you will?
Yeah, they're going to rely a lot on Robinson and James Jackson, as well as Trey McDonald at linebacker. It's interesting talking to some of the players over the last couple of days. With all the newcomers on the defensive front and all the newcomers in the secondary, they're really going to count on Robinson to communicate and James Jackson to communicate the defense to the rest of that group and be able to get guys lined up and put them in the right position. The linebackers coach Mike Adams said, it's kind of on them, on that group, when I talked to him, to make sure the defense is right and in the right spot as so many new faces learn it. Of course, Jameer Carter's back at defensive tackle, and Anthony Britton and Jason Hammond are back too on a defensive front. But they've got 4 new defensive ends, a couple of new backup defensive tackles, and then just a totally remade secondary. And that may be the biggest unknown of what this defense is how that secondary shakes out. There's 9 transfer defensive backs on the roster, Matt. That's a lot. That's quite a few in the secondary. So I think Virginia's going to use camp because 7 of them came in after the spring. So they've got to use this training camp to figure out exactly what they have at defensive back. Now, they like the group athletically, but you still got to see them perform. I think Donovan Platt, transfer cornerback from Army, will be a starter at corner. That would be my projection at this point. But the other spots, one of the safety spots will be Devin Neal, transfer from Louisville. But there are a couple other spots back there where it's like it's anybody's position who can go win it. At corner, maybe it's Emmanuel Carnley from Arizona who spent the spring at Miami. Maybe it's Jamarick Morris, a taller, longer transfer from Georgia State, or Jordan Robinson, who's 6'4" from Cincinnati. They like those lengthier corners, and it seems like those 3 will battle it out for the other spot, maybe opposite of Platt. And then at safety, you just got to figure out kind of what you have. Same with the nickel position. Maybe that's Jason Pavard, maybe that's Christian Charles. So it'll be fascinating just to see how that alone shakes out.
You mentioned it where you had UVA in your preseason poll, higher than the rest of the media, but nothing, outrageous, if you will. Clemson is the hands-down pick to win the conference. Do you think that's a slam dunk? I mean, last year SMU was roaring back, almost pulled it off. I'm getting a lot of feels from people that Georgia Tech is this year's surprise or buzz team, if you will. And there's a lot of panic in places, even not just Charlottesville got to win with Tony Elliott, but Virginia Tech, Brent Pry got to win, or it could be, time's running out for him. What's kind of your assessment of the conference, which is not, viewed on the same level as the big SEC behemoths and Big Ten, but what's your view of the league in general?
I think Clemson's going to be really good. Now, with Klubnik back and those defensive linemen, Peter Woods leading the way, I think that Clemson team is going to be excellent. They've got talent at receiver, Antonio Williams. They can move him all over the place, outside, inside, have him take a jet sweep. Year 3 for Klubnik and Garrett Riley working together. Dabo has stuck to what he does, right? And that's build and develop through the high school ranks. Feels like I think Klubnik said it in Charlotte a couple of weeks ago, that they've been young for the last 2-3 years, and all of a sudden now they're old, and they're hoping that this is the year they turn the corner and become that national championship contender that they were, 7-8 years ago regularly.
So beyond the LSU game, you'd be surprised or shocked if they fell in conference play.
Yeah, I think this Clemson team's built to do some really, really good things elsewhere around the league. SMU is good. They built. They're interesting because they've built their O-lines and D-lines over the last couple of years through the portal as they made the move from the AAC, the American to the ACC. And then, you look at Miami. They have talent. Undoubtedly, they have talent. I think a lot of it will depend on how Carson Beck acclimates himself to Shannon Dawson's offense, the offensive coordinator at Miami. Dawson's done well with a lot of different quarterbacks, like even dating back to his time at West Virginia when he was with Geno Smith and that crew that moved from the Big East to the Big 12. He's really had some talented players. He had to stop at Kentucky, and then obviously with Miami last year and what he did with Cam Ward. I'm fascinated to see how Carson Beck fits there. Miami's built well on the O-line and the D-line. And then to me, you mentioned Georgia Tech. I'm in that camp that Georgia Tech should be pretty good this year. Haynes King, if they can keep him healthy, right, and that's the key. If they can keep Haynes King healthy, I don't know if there's another quarterback like him in college football with the way he runs the ball. He's looking to run over people, and you pair him and Jamal Haynes, the running back, and then Georgia Tech has always had a pretty good front with Brent Key, whether he was the head coach, the interim coach, or the O-line coach. I trust that method, that formula. Now they lost some pieces on defense, but I trust that formula. They brought in a transfer at running back too, Malachi Hosley from Penn, who can add to that running game also. I think that team can give a lot of people trouble, and if the games break right, they'll be in the race to get to Charlotte for the ACC title game. Louisville should be okay, and Duke should be okay. I think kind of the first 5, 6 are pretty projectable to be good, but like after that, Matt, everybody else, it's like we'll see. We'll see with how the portal acquisitions shake out. How the teams come together, how the teams adjust to new coaches. Right, North Carolina, there's the obvious one, and Bill Belichick, but you have the Stanford situation out west, where Andrew Luck is the general manager, and he had to bring in Frank Reich as the interim coach. And Cal's a little bit different this year now with Ron Rivera as the GM, and Justin Wilcox. It seems like a lot of folks have pegged him as someone who could be on the hot seat. And Virginia Tech, you don't know exactly what you're going to get from them either. Might depend on the health of Kyron Drones, but it feels like it's a huge year for Brent Pry and whether or not that thing's going to continue.
Yeah, I'm with you, Greg. I mean, and Georgia Tech, by the way, does not play UVA or Miami on its slate, so avoiding Miami could help them, although Miami a couple years ago had that crazy stumbling game. And that October 11th game when the Hokies go to Georgia Tech will be rather fascinating. I'll get you on this one. We thank you so much for the time and look forward to getting you back on the program as we get rolling here into football season. Let's just to finish up your quick take thoughts on the football. I mean, it's going to be the baseball and the basketball situations where UVA sits with both programs right now. I wouldn't say state of flux, but both in transition mode still, right?
Yeah, for sure. The baseball situation, I feel like is going to stabilize quickly. I feel like Chris Pollard has done a really, really good job managing and navigating the roster. He brought a bunch of his players from Duke and kept some very key players who were on Virginia's team last year, particularly Eric Becker, the shortstop, who was projected to be a top 15, 20 pick in next year's MLB draft. And you pair Becker with AJ Gracia, the center field transfer from Duke. That's a pretty good place to start if you're Chris Pollard in terms of your lineup. The pitching, I think, is a little bit more of a question, but Pollard in the task he has in replacing Brian O'Connor is a behemoth of a challenge after O'Connor, right? 7 College World Series in 22 years. Pollard has set his roster up well, I believe, for them to compete right away. Ryan Odom remade roster as he transitions in. They've gotten a couple of international imports too, in Thista Ritter as well as Johan Grunlow. Grunlow from Germany, De Ritter from Belgium. And I think how they blend that group together is really what's going to matter. They've got 7 transfers, the 2 international players, 2 freshmen, and only 3 returners. So to me, that's going to be kind of wait and see mode. Folks who I've talked to are excited about the talent, though. I even talked to the strength coach, Mike Curtis, the other day for a story that'll be out early next week. And he's like, the amount of athleticism on the team is really, really good. And if they can come together, it's going to be an excellent year.
Yeah, it should be interesting to watch how it unfolds. With that Odom name carries a lot of weight there in Charlottesville, and people are excited to see what takes place. He is Greg Medea. Give him a follow on the X at Greg Medea. Read his work, Daily Progress, and dailyprogress.com. And he is a lifelong Mets fan, hoping for an October to remember. Thank you so much, my pal. Enjoy the rest of the summer, the little bit we have left, and I'm sure we'll be chatting again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Matt. High school football coming soon. I'm excited for you. I know you get revved up.
Yes, it's a busy time here, like you said. No sleep for you going from this coaching move, this thing. Same here. We're up cranking out previews, and that's how it is. But always a pleasure, my friend. You be well.
All right, take care, Matt. Bye-bye.
That is Greg Medea with us here on 757 Sports Talk. We've got one more segment to put the finishing touches on this particular episode. Keep it tuned and hit the like button, the share button, and most importantly, the subscribe button. You're watching Cova Sports TV. Now let's hear a word from some of the sponsors that make it possible, including Chinchos.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Kova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit kovapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I've learned that just one person saying to me, "You've made my day," makes my day. Until next visit, this is Andy Rooney for Poolside Adventures. Let's go back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk with two guys who probably aren't making your day, today or any other day. Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young at the Plex.
And we're back here on Cova Sports TV, flying solo for the time being while Ed is finishing up his speaking engagement duties on this particular Saturday. I am Matthew Hatfield, but we thank him for his participation for earlier in the program. And also we thank all of our guests, which included the likes of Greg Medea, who we just had on the show, as well as Casey Turner, head football coach of the Princess Anne Cavaliers, and Steve Monninger, head football coach of the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs, plus Anthony Hawkins, head coach of the Norcom Greyhounds. If you missed any of the show, it's available on the podcast page, archived on demand. Find that playlist, 757 Sports Talk, on YouTube, on Cova Sports TV. And voila, hit the like button to that, and you'll have all of our clips and episodes you can go back and check out as we continue the countdown to the start of high school football, as well as college and pro football. We'll be doing our over-unders pretty soon on the show for the NFL. And we'll have some buy or sell come back on the show. We'll have more high school football sound for you, including Anthony Joffrion of Kings Fork in the coming episodes. You'll hear from Hickory's Donnell Brown, Nansman Rivers Alonzo Ricks Jr., plus others. And we will be getting Phil Steele on the show, the college football guru, who was hoping to come on for today's show, but had a scheduling conflict. We're going to effort him for probably the August 16th episode, so you'll get a chance to hear Phil give you some in-depth analysis and thoughts on everything happening in college football with it approaching. We usually get him on in July, but closer to kickoff might be even better for folks. If you have questions for Phil, get them in. Hit us up on our chat boxes, our comment boxes, the email at hatfieldsports@gmail.com, the Twitter, the X at 757 Sports Talk, and we'll throw it his way, or we'll try to throw it his way when he does come on the show. But that's going to do it for this particular episode. We thank you all for tuning in, and we'll do it next time as we get closer and closer to football season getting underway. This has been a presentation of Cova Sports TV and 757 Sports Talk. We'll catch you next time. See you later. Have a great weekend, everyone.